First of all, I'd like to thank you too for doing this interviewing the council, those that are running. I'd like to thank you for that. My name is Cecelia Boppers Shortman. I'm an enrolled member of a Gros-Ventre tribe. I'm 4/4 Assiniboine, 4/4 Gros-Ventre. My parents are the late George Lincoln Blackbird. George Lincoln Blackbird, he was a prisoner of war, and my mother was the late Helen Shortman. She retired from the IHS as a nurse. I have no brothers and sisters. I have 3 children, 6 great-grandchildren. I think they should vote for me because I'm a very dependable person on the council. I enjoying being on there. I'm here for the people, and I've done a lot of things for the youth, the elders, that I've never seen that done before. And I have a lot of elders that, that come and talk to me, and they said they see the ways the things are being run on a council, and I agree with them. In order to be on the council, 2 years isn't enough. You get something started, and if you don't get in, then I don't know if anybody will follow through with what they want you to do, what you want to do. There's so much resources around here on Fort Belknap for the youth and for the elders, and I think that the reason why I ran is I've had a lot of people approach me about the swimming pool at the Red Whip. I was visited by a elderly lady, and the elders used to go in there in the morning and do exercise in there. And I did a walk through that swimming pool, and I was told there was really nothing wrong with it. And then the reason why I'm running now again is I met with Phillips County, Blaine County, and Havre Department of Transportation. That road coming down here from the DY, and then you turn towards the Hayes here, that's pretty dangerous. I requested a light or more signs posted, and it's dangerous. It's a dangerous approach there. You're coming down the hill. I requested some signs to be put up above the grade there. Their speed limit to be reduced. And I was approached by several elders and other people that road leaving the DY, turning towards Malta, left towards Malta, right towards Billings. They should have a big old light there, because some of them said they almost missed the turn. I almost missed the turn. And I talked to them about that. I talked to Phillips County. There's some things we have to get, done with our transportation. And then coming down 3 Mile Hill, that's pretty dangerous. When you're coming up 3 Mile Hill, you're turning left to Snake Butte, right to Rodeo Drive. That's pretty dangerous. I'm requesting a light there, and more signs up for that, for their speed limit. And right now I've been working with Department of Transportation in Havre. I told several council members, if I don't get on, would you follow through with this? I've talked to Bill Main and Transportation. And then I did see where Councilman Randall Wirt did post something about the grade. And I hope somebody, if I don't get on, I hope somebody follows through with that, because that is something I would like taken care of. If not, I'll just continue bugging Phillips, Blaine, and Hill County about that if I have to go up there every other day. But hopefully we'll get something done with that. My biggest challenges was really hard getting in there when you had no supervision, you know, from day one. I don't know what I would have done if it wasn't for Councilman John Allen, Councilman Shelley Fox, Don Horn, because all three of them were on there before, and I had several other councilmen, you know, telling me what to expect, and, you know, ask questions, listen, read a lot. I like to read. That helped a lot. And my biggest challenge is, you know, not being able to do more for our people. Like I told you before, there's a lot of resources on Fort Belknap. If we could utilize it, if we could get our planning, all these directors, you know, and I have to thank a lot of these directors, especially Taro, for the things they're doing. And Tawahi, you know, they're really some good directors out there. I've worked with them, I've met with them, and right now is my biggest concern is people want our community center back, to get our community center. They want it back, but the holdup is trying to get the commodity building fixed, and that's one of my biggest, I really worry about that because it's costing so much, and I think that people need their building back, just like Hayes, they need a community building. They need someplace to go, you know, for their funerals, for the youth, for the elders. Lodgepole, Dodson, all Dodson has is just their little senior center, nothing else. I really think they should. I think maybe a couple of councilmen could work with them, you know, and get their ideas, what they need, what they want, you know, and maybe a couple councilmen could, you know, they could work together and get their ideas, what, you know, and they do. They need to be informed. You know, when I ran, I said I wanted a newspaper. We never did get it. We never ever got it. I even wanted to buy the computer, the printer, buy my paper, but I was told they were going to look for some money for that. But because not everybody goes on Facebook, not all the elders go on Facebook, and they don't know what's going on. We really do need a newsletter, and I've been stressing that, you know, and then maybe this way these off-reservation could will know what's going on here, and if they have questions, you know, they could. And not everybody's on, like I told you, not everybody's on Facebook. But I really do, I highly think 2 councilmen should, you know, work with off-reservation. Maybe Billings, maybe they could get together and, like here, the elder program, maybe they could get a chairman or get a representative and they could meet with the council. Maybe Washington, all over wherever they at, maybe they could email them, you know, their concerns, their questions, and then the 2 representatives on the council, maybe they could get back with them and tell them. But I really do think they need it. They need to be informed. I really think it should be maybe an 1/8, and that's it. Because one of my grandkids didn't even make the community rolls. And I think, but you could combine your blood with Fort Peck if you're Assiniboine. We were also told that if you have Arapaho, you can probably meet with somebody and change that. But that's just how I feel. We probably won't have a reservation in 100 years, but, I hope we have a reservation. Because I feel, I worry about our youth, what's going to happen to them when the older people are gone. The younger kids are more into computers, more into iPads. They don't, my grandkids, I see them and they're always on their iPads, their phones, and I told them that isn't life. You need to pay attention in school, you need to get an education, you need to get out there and you need to see the world and come back, go to school, come back and, teach these kids things. But we don't know what the future holds for anybody, especially with Trump. I've been for that for I don't know how long. We met in, I just don't know why they just don't turn the school back and open it. We were told that they couldn't get any teachers while we have people going to school. Have them come back and teach, and I mean, look how old the church is. Look at how old that House of Loretta is. I think they should, we're still meeting with them. I know Randall's doing a lot of, work with them so right now, and we're hoping we'll get it back and we can have a school there. I went to the school at the mission till it burned down. But I really wish they'd get the school back, the mission, the buildings around it. But we met with Lame Deer and nothing sounds really promising. But hopefully Randall's a go-getter and I know he'll get something done. It would be up to the people. And then in the end, the people are going to have the last say, and there's going to be a lot of jobs if it ever gets approved. There's going to be all kinds of jobs. People are going to have to be prepared of what is going to come to Fort Belknap, come to Hayes, Lodgepole, and they're really going to have to be prepared. But it's been going on for how many years? It had a lot of elders' hopes up. It had a lot of, how many council talked about this. And I think we're in the last stages here. I don't now, but with Trump, I don't know. But it would probably be a good thing for Fort Belknap and surrounding areas because there's going to be a lot of business, a lot of money will be coming in, but the tribe won't get it. It'll be probably rationed out and having to do this and that. They're going to have a lot of planning to do because a lot of things will happen. But I think it would be, I guess, a good idea, but I'd be worried about, who's going to be here and look out for our youth and our elders. But in the end, it'll be up to the tribe, up to the community. That's what I think. I think the community should have an input on it. If elected, there are so many things I want to do, like I told you, that for the safety of the people, for the communities, I would like that light up coming from DY going to Billings and Malta. I would like that coming down the grade. I would like somebody to get that something, continue working on that. If I'm not elected, I would like to get that light coming down 3 Mile Hill. I would like to have them and get on them to get the community center for the people at the agency area, and we have to push them to get you guys' wellness center done. So that's something to look forward for the people in Hayes, and to worry about how they're going to fund it, keep it open. And I'm there pretty regular at the tribal council. I'm always, I'm always there. I have a lot of visitors at my home. I have a lot of people come and see me. I try to help everybody. I don't play favorites. I don't, none of my kids live here, so they're not employed. None of my family members are employed. And I'm here for the people. I listen to them and I try to do what I could for them. And I guess that's all anybody could do, is try to better our reservation and look out for them. Look out, make sure they have their needs, because, times are going to be hard. Like right now, from what I understand, some employees are being laid off at housing, and we have money until December. We don't know what's going to happen after that, and we should be, prepared for the future, for what's coming. In all these departments, like, they should be getting wood for our elders. And I'd like to thank Tesha Hawley for her always donating her fruits and vegetables, her meat, her chicken, whatever, for the elders. That is something that I don't know if she'll continue getting that. I'm hoping she does. And I'm here for the people. I try to help everybody I could, but that's a decision that they have to make. And I want to thank those that voted for me when I got elected this last time. Yes, no. But we're all due for a change, People want change. Even my grandkids said that. Grandma, should we change Fort Belknap? Well, what are we going to change it to? I don't know, give it an Indian name. But yeah, I would agree if they changed it, it doesn't. It'll always be Fort Belknap, but just like the Little River, that old store, everybody, and I still refer it as a quick stop. I'll probably never ever, and there's several people, but yeah, change is good. I think change is good. We need it. For the youth, is they need to stay in school. They need to focus. I've always stressed school. But again, we don't go by qualifications. That's the hardest thing. I mean, we can have somebody come in with a doctor's degree, a master's, and they don't always get picked. But I really stress school, because you're always going to need doctors, you're always going to need school teachers, you're always going to need nurses, you're always going to need somebody a pharmacist, you're always going to need leaders. Years ago, them elders, they didn't have no schooling, and they went on what they were told by their ancestors. In education, I think is my biggest thing, is going to school, getting an education, and come back and educate our people. Get in a position, work for the people, work for the community. And that'll be our future. They'll be our future for their education, whatever they're going to school for. For one, we need a lot of I've been telling a lot of kids, a lot of youngsters, high schoolers, go and get your schooling for plumbing. We don't have anybody that does plumbing. We don't have any electricians here. People have to go off the reservation, you know, and it's probably going to be hard, but they can do it. But this is what we really need. We need these plumbers, we need electricians, we need doctors, lawyers, all those, and if they go to school, they could come back and educate the youth.